हाँ आणि फिरायला ऐकते बावडा आहे तरी हा सगळं
Yes, Bharat sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Just 1 minute. We'll start the session. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, Bharat sir, a resource person with us now. So I welcome all the participants. Attarde sir, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Now I request Professor Bharat Devre sir to introduce our resource person, Mr. Ganesh Attarde sir. Bharat sir, please.
Yeah. Good afternoon, all. And yes, good afternoon, all. I welcome all the participants for second session of the day, Python programming. For this session, we are having Mr. Ganesh Attarde sir. Attarde sir is a tech career expert and founder of CB Softonic Solutions and Career Lifestyle Hub. He is an engineering graduate and he has a diploma in CDAC from ACTS Pune with 4 years of teaching experience in data structure, object-oriented programming, system programming, and operating system. He has also had 6 years of experience on C, C++, Core Java, JSP Servlet, JDBC, MySQL, Oracle, Linux, Python, MongoDB, MATLAB, and multi-threading. He has conducted 15 plus workshops and FDPs in different engineering and diploma colleges. He is topper 1 plus and got a gold medal in NPTEL 12 weeks course on programming in C. Also, in NPTEL 8 weeks course on programming in C, he has got an elite certificate in NPTEL 12 weeks of course on problem solving. Then he also has a top performing mentor for NPTEL course, microprocessor and microcontroller, as well as introduction in C and Swayam course programming in Java. So I welcome our speaker, Ganesh Attarde sir, and I request Attarde sir to please start with the session. Yes, over to you, Attarde sir.
Thank you, sir. So thank you, Bharat sir. Thank you, Sushant sir. So my topic for today is the Python programming. Okay. Most of the, I think you are the faculty members and you better know the Python. Okay. So this is a very basic topic that I have to given. That is, I have to start with those who are newbie to this field, that is machine learning and data science, and those who want to make a career, or those who wants to they are very new in a subject of data science. And suppose if in other branches like in ENTC actually this elective has been introduced. So that's why some of you has been actually you want to study or you want to learn the Python. But the major problem is you are always starting with the advanced things. Okay, we'll start with the pandas, we'll start with the NumPy, but we never go into the deep of the Python. Okay, so in this two sessions, the afternoon session and the evening session, we will go into the somewhat deep into the Python. I have some resources also. I will share that resource to you. After the session, you can also download that resource and you can use that resource for any other purpose. There is open source resource. Okay, so without waiting much time, actually, we will start with the practical session. Actually, I'm going to perform all the practicals. I do not have the PowerPoint directly. Will do the some hands-on. Okay, generally, I recommended the Anaconda Navigator, but the installation process is very long, but I'm not taking that installation part and stuff. So we'll use the online editor, that is the your Google Colabs. Okay, so let me share my screen. Yes. So firstly, to start with the Google Colabs, if you are new in a Google Colabs and if you don't have the account on Google Colabs, the prerequisite is you should have only the Gmail account. Okay, so if you have Gmail account, then you can easily create your Google Colabs account. So what you need to do first, first you have to go to the Google and just search Colabs. Okay, just search Colabs. Okay, so this is the very first research.google.com collaboratory, or directly this website is there, collab.research.google.com. You can directly click on this website. So the link will be the collab.research.google.com. When you open this, actually, if you are not sign in, then it will ask for sign in. And if you already sign in, or if you are having the already sign in your Gmail, in your Google Chrome, actually, it will directly open these examples. So I have already signed in with my exam in my Google Chrome. So it is not asking for me for sign in, but in case suppose if you are very new to the Google Colabs, then there is icon here. Just click on that sign in. It will ask for your Gmail account. Just enter that Gmail account, and after entering username and password, again you come back to this page. Okay, so after come back to this page, actually what you need to do, you have to create a new notebook. Okay, so firstly click on the file and create a new notebook. So there is some introduction. I'm doing some introduction here. It is the name of your file. It is a Jupyter notebook file. IPYNB is the extension. This is the name of that file you are entitled for, but you can rename also, for example, introduction. Okay, so this is my name, DUCTI. Okay, introduction. Name I'm given to this file, and then after that this is the cell actually. Okay, this is not common to the like other editor. Okay, the other editors are like your notepad. You just have to write down your whole code. After writing the whole code, you have to execute the whole code at one time. But here the advantage of using this type of the ID is that you just have to enter one command, and after entering that one command, you have to test that command is working or not. Okay, so cell by cell actually we are working. Okay, cell by cell we are working. We are writing the one code, we are writing the one statement, and then click on the execute. If it is perfectly fine, then we go to the next command. So step by step, like your algorithm, you have to execute your commands. Okay, and because we know that here the Python is not a compile based language, it is a interpreted language. So we don't have to write down the whole program at a time. So we can write down the step by step. Okay, so here the two types of the cells are there. First one is called the code cell, and the next one is called the text cell. the text cell is nothing but you can say that is just like your comment in your C and C++. So if you want to do some extra information, if you want to insert some extra information regarding to your code, then you can first enter the text cell. Here I have created one text cell and I'm entering some information what I'm going to teach today. Okay, so here I'm exploring some Python basics. Okay, some Python basics. After that, we'll start with the decision control structure, and then after that we'll go to the data types, some data types. Okay, so in this session actually we are going to explore these three topics, and just you have to press the shift enter. Okay, shift enter. When you press the shift enter, it will execute. The text cell is also execute, and whatever the actually you have given the command, it get executed. So this, what is this hash? The hash is represent the how much what is the size of that comment. What is the size of that comment? Suppose if you are giving the single hash, then it is the size is much more larger. Okay, if you are giving the 3 hash, then size is small. Okay, so you can consider that hash as the levels. How much of levels you need? Single hash means the higher level, do hash means lower level, 3 hash means again lower level text. Okay, so like that you have to enter the information regarding to your program. After entering this information, actually you can start with the program. So always, as we start with the every programming, we will do the very first program as a hello world program. So we'll do the hello world program here. So this is my code cell. How to identify it is a code cell? Because there is this play button is there. Okay, so if it is a play button is there, then you can consider this as a code cell. Okay, so the command is print. The command is print, and in a bracket you have to give the whatever you want to print. Okay, so it is my string, so I am enclosing that string in a single quote or double quote. So in Python actually the string can be enclosed in a single quote or double quote. Okay, it is not the same. It is not the same as that of your C and C++. In a C++, the single quote means character, and here double quote means string. But here in Python actually you can give the single quote also, you can give the double quote also, doesn't matter. Okay, now you have entered your instruction. Now you want to execute it. So how to execute it? Okay, so just to execute it, you can click on this button. You can click on this button, that is called the run cell, or just click on the shift enter or the control enter. Okay, so it first it will connect. Okay, you can see here my I'm connecting to the Google server. I'm getting some RAM and disk. Some RAM and disk has been assigned to my program, and on that RAM and disk, actually using that RAM and disk, my program get running. And if your program is not having any syntax error, then your program gets successfully run. So if you have any syntax error, just like suppose the first character you have given as a double quote and second given as a single quote, then it might generate the error. Okay, it might, that is a syntax error. Okay, so if your program is not having the error, then it will successfully execute. So likewise, you can write your whole program one by one. Every cell contains the one line of your code, and you can check it with the every step. That is, what is the output at that particular step. Okay, so any doubt? If you have any doubts or if you have any question in between, you can post that question on chat window, or otherwise you just have to note down your question, and at the end of the session you can ask me that question. So I'm starting with the very basic, that is what is the identifier and keywords. Okay, so it is not actually it is a FDP, and in a FDP actually this should not be covered, but my intention is we should go into the deeper. So it is a case sensitive language. Yes, we know that the Python is a case sensitive language, and the Python identifier name is used to identify the variable, function, class, module, or other object. Okay, you can consider this identifier as a user defined thing. Okay, so whatever the user defined thing, if you want to give in your Python, you require the identifier. So what are the rules for creating the identifier? It is the same rules that is being available in C and C++. That is, it should be start with the alphabet or an underscore only. It cannot be start with the letter, and it should be followed by 0 or the more character, that is underscore and the digits. The keywords cannot be used as an identifier. That is the very basic rule, and we all know that. What is the keywords are the reserved words for the compiler. Okay, that's why we cannot use these keywords as an identifier name. Okay, so to declare that identifier, we must know the what are the keywords present in Python. Okay, so here all keywords are in a lowercase. Only 2 or 3 keywords are there. They are in a capital case or title case. Python 2 is having the 33 keywords, and Python 2 having 33 keywords, and Python 3 is having the 35 keywords. Okay, so how to get the list of that keywords? Okay, so here there is one library, inbuilt library. We don't have to download that library. We just have to import that library, import keyword. Okay, import keyword. So after importing the keyword library, there is one list is there, KW list. Okay, it is known as keyword list. Okay, if I'm running this list, if I'm running this code, then you will get the all keywords here, all the keywords: false, none, true, and, as, assert, async, await, break, class, continue, dev, del, elif. Okay, so there are lots of 35, total 35 keywords are there. Okay, so Bhagyashree ma'am, actually I will be answering this question later. Okay, so keywords, just to know the what are the keywords after this session, actually you can note down that keywords. Then what are the data types available? Basic data types. Basic data types are available in Python. The int, character, float, double, these we have learned in C++. But here the Python is having the basic data types as a int, float, complex, bool, string, and bytes. These are the basic data types: int, float, complex, bool, string, and the bytes. Int and float, we know that the integer variables which is not having the decimal point. The float means the integer variable having the decimal point. And complex, real and imaginary part. So here there is a inbuilt basic data types is there, complex. You can directly store the complex number in any variable. Then bool variable is there, which store only true and false. There is a missing of char data type here. Instead of char data type, actually string data type has been there. Then bytes is the actually data type which store the byte value. Okay, if you have only 1 or 2 bytes to store, or if you have the hexadecimal numbers, or if you have some binary numbers, and if you want to store inside your computer, there is a bytes. It is more related to the your embedded system. Now there are some advanced data types are also there: list, tuple, set, and a dictionary. We are going also into deep of these data types. The list, tuple, set. List is similar, like you can compare this list with the array, but we'll see what is the major difference between the array and list, then tuple, set, and the dictionary afterwards. Then user defined class is also one of the data type. Okay, so we can define our own class in Python also. Okay, though that Python is your object oriented language, but the Python support the object oriented programming also and procedure oriented programming also. Okay, you can write your program like your just like your C language program. Okay, one by one statement, and that get executed. Okay, so we'll start with the first one, how to declare the integer data type. Okay, to declare the integer data type, just you need to put that integer value into one of the identifier. Okay, so here automatically one variable get created, a is equal to 20. So here the 20 value get assigned to a, and automatically the depending on the data type of that particular value, or what is the value that you are going to store inside that variable, automatically the data type has been selected by your Python, by the Python. Okay, so we don't how to declare that a variable as an int. So in C, C++, actually we generally do int a equal to 20. But here in a Python, actually whatever the data you have to assign to that variable, that data decide the type of that variable. So here the less error is there. Most majorly while teaching that C++ language, actually majorly the students are making the mistake here. Okay, they declare the different data types. Okay, and while compiling, actually there might be a logical error, there might be a syntax error. So here that cannot be actually you can get into the Python. Okay, so here print a, so a value will be printed. So what is a value? It is a 20 value get printed. Just like if you are storing the 30, if you're storing 30, so that 30 get assigned to a. But here and here a is equal to 30. But one point I want to discuss here, if a is equal to 20 is there, and if a is equal to 30, whatever the memory is you have assigned or you are using to store 20, it is not the same that you are using to store this 30 value. Okay, so it means that this a is different and this a is different. Why? Because both are having the different values. Okay, so this is the actually memory management. And if suppose there is a variable called as a b, if there is a variable called as a b, and b is also having the 20 value, then a equal to 20, b equal to 20, it means that here in a C language, actually what happened, the two variable get created. A is having the different memory location, B is having the different memory location. But here in a Python, what happened here, if your both two variable is having the same value, it is not wasting the memory. So it create a memory, storing the 20 inside it, and the A is pointing to that memory. You can say that here A is a reference to that memory. Okay. And now when you create the new variable b equal to 20, the compiler will check the memory 20 is available or not. Yeah, it is already available. So only that b reference, that is the reference, new b reference is created, and now that b is referred to that old memory 20. Okay, so we will discuss that point later also, but this is the somewhat advanced mechanism available in Python. If the same value is there in a memory, why there is a different memory for storing? Okay, there should be a same memory, but if you modify that memory, so if a equal to 20 first, and if you are doing a equal to 30, now a is not referring to the memory which is having the 20 value. Now a is referring to the memory, new memory, which is having the 30 value. Now you can say that here the memory which is having the value 20, it is not having any reference. So the memory which is not having any reference, it is garbage collected. It is garbage collected, and Python is having the internally garbage collection mechanism. Whatever the memory is there which is not having any reference, that is get collected, garbage collected automatically. Okay, so getting this. Now next one is a float data type. So here a equal to, how to make them, one simple is there. Just store that the float value into one of the variable, and now a is having the type of the a is float. The type of the a is float. Now I can show you what is the type here. Now a equal to 30, and I'm printing a. To print the type of that particular variable, you can use the function, inbuilt function called the type. Okay, type of a. So what is the type of a here? Type of a is int. The type of a is int. But as soon as if you have assigned this a to the float value, and if you're printing the type of a, then it becomes, or it modifies to it type of a. It modifies to float. Okay, now the a becomes type as a float. So this facility is not available in any other language like C, C++, and Java. Once you declare that variable, during the program lifetime, actually that variable is having the same data type in a previous language. But in Python, actually, you can change the type of that variable dynamically in your program. Okay. Now next one is the what is the range of the integer? Okay, in C, C++, and Java, we know that the size of the integer variable is 4 byte, max 4 byte. or max 4 bytes. So, but here, what is the size? So integer is not having any size. Okay, so you can declare very big number. So this is a very big number. It is only integer number, and if you print the value of a, it is exactly printed as it is. The last digit also you can see 357, and the first digit 398, the 398. So it means that here in a Python actually you can store the very big number in a Python. Okay, so because here there is no actually specific limit for the integer. The same for the float. In a float actually the maximum number we can store is a number greater than 1.8 e raised to 308 is referred as an infinity. Okay, 1.8 multiplied by the 10 raised to 308, this is referred as a infinity. Okay, so we'll get the output here, but as soon as we will increase that up to the from the 1.7 to 1.9, which is greater than this value, then it will print INF, that is the infinity. Okay, so first number is valid number, but the second number is the infinity number. So it does not generate any type of error. It gives the number as a, or it assign that number as a INF, that is infinity. Okay. Now complex data type, very simple. If you have the complex number, real and the imaginary part, okay, then you can directly assign to variable 1 plus 2j, 3 plus 5j. 1 plus 2j assigned to A, 3 plus 5j is assigned to B, and you can perform some arithmetic operation also, like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. This operation you can also perform. Okay, so I'm doing some operations on the complex number. So here A get printed, B get printed, and the addition of that A plus B get also printed, 4 plus 7j. Okay, how the addition takes place? Real plus real, imaginary plus imaginary. And to get the real value of that particular variable, complex variable, you can use this technique, that is c dot real. You will get a real value. C dot imag, imaginary, that is you will get an imaginary value. You can also print the conjugate of that particular complex number by using the function, inbuilt function as a conjugate. Okay. Now there is a next data type as a bool data type, in which we can store the true and false. Okay, true and false. A is equal to true and B is equal to false. Okay, so here the A value is true, B value is false. If you are printing the A and B, you will get a true and false only. Okay, you will get a true and false. It is not a string, actually it is the true and false is the inbuilt keywords are there. These are the keywords, true and false, these are the keywords. Okay, and we know that what is true and what is false. Okay, so if the condition is actually, if the condition is satisfied, you can see that the result of the condition is true. Okay, so we can store the result of the condition here in a variable also. For example, if suppose 10 greater than 15, okay, 10 greater than 15, this is my condition. This is now, this condition is false. So if I'm printing this, A is false. If A is false here. Okay, so we can store the result of the condition in a variable also. Now the last one is the byte data type. Okay, so how to create the byte data type? So to create the array of bytes, you can use its constructor, like bytes of x. Bytes of x means how many bytes we want. Okay, I want the 4 bytes. I want 4 bytes, so I am passing the 4 to bytes. Okay, so byte x is 4, so bytes of 4. Bytes of 4 means actually it create the array of 4 bytes. The size of the A is now 4. The size of the A is now 4 bytes only. Okay, so if I'm running this, you will get the type of the A is bytes. And what is the content of that A? The content of that A actually we have not stored. We have only created the default array, and it is so it is initialized with the 0. So all is initialized with 0. Again, we can create the array of bytes using the list element. So here, what is list and how to create list, actually we'll see afterwards. But here, now this x, you can consider this x as an array. Okay, but actually it is a list. So it is a list of the numbers 1, 5, 7, 8, and using this, I want to create the list of the array of the bytes. Okay, so how to create? Just provide this list to the bytes constructor and you will get that particular list. So what is the difference between this? Because here one, the data type of the one is integer, data type of 5 is integer. So here to store this X, actually we require the large amount of memory, but here to store this A, only the 4 bytes is needed, only 4 bytes is needed. So if you have the data which can be fit into the bytes, you can use this technique. Generally, this is very important regarding to the embedded system again. Now, next one is string. How to create the string. The string data type can be created by using a single quote or double quote. Okay, single quote or the double quote. So Python is interesting. Using double quote I have created. And using this string, I want to create the array of bytes. Okay, so we can create here. We can create. So now here, every string or every character is a here size of the 1 byte only, size of 1 byte only. Okay, but here actually the size of the P and here the size of P, the difference is there are two different sizes. Can you tell me what is the size of P in a string and what is the size of P in these bytes? Yes, any one of participant please reply. Most of the participants from computer background. So can you tell me what is the size of this? Why we convert that string data type into the bytes? Okay. So in somewhat microcontroller, actually, if you want to store the string, okay, then if you are using this technique, okay, it uses the Unicode character, okay, Unicode character. Then we know that the size of Unicode character is 2 byte. So here the size of the P is 2 byte and here the size of P is only 1 byte. Okay, so I'm reducing the memory here. I'm reducing the uses of memory. Okay, in this way actually you can use this size also. So you can use the bytes array. The next one is variable types and assignments. So how to assign the value to the variable. So no need to define the type of variable. Type of variable is taken from the context in which the variable is being used. Like a is equal to 25, the type of a becomes integer. A is equal to 3.14, the type of a becomes float. A is equal to high, so it is str. The type of a becomes str. Like here the example is given. The type of variable can be checked using the built-in function type. Yeah, we have already done this. Okay. Now next one is variable assignment. There is a simple assignment is there. You use the assignment operator, equal to operator, a equal to 10, pi equal to 3.40. Assignment operator will done. Okay. Now multiple variable assignment also we can do. Suppose to use this instruction, to execute the instruction here in this statement, I need here 3 lines, but the same we can do in a single line also. Like a equal to 10, just we have to put here semicolon. Okay. Semicolon is work as a line terminator here. Okay, so then pi is equal to 3.14 and name is equal to Ganesh. Okay, or otherwise the second technique is the a comma pi comma name is equal to 10 comma 3.14 comma Ganesh. Okay, so here actually what happened here, according to the actually here sequence, okay, the particular number get assigned to that sequence. Like a is appear first, so whatever the assignment appear first get assigned to a. So 10 is assigned to a, 3.14 assigned to pi, and Ganesh, that is Ganesh, my name, is assigned to name. Okay, like that. Again, this is again the technique, a equal to b equal to c equal to d equal to 5. Okay, so this can also we can do. So that is first assignment done as a d equal to 5, and whatever the result with d equal to 5, that is 5 get assigned to c, and whatever result with this again assigned to b, again it is assigned to a. So the after this execution actually a, b, c, d, all 4 variables become, or 4 variables become the value as a 5. Now next one is the actually I'm taking this very fast because these are the very basic things. Arithmetic operators. So plus, minus, multiplication. Yeah, we know that how it works. Plus, minus. So 4 divided by 2 is 2.0. Okay. So can anybody tell me what is the 4 divided or suppose 10 divided by or 11 divided by 2. What is 11 divided by 2? Yes, anyone from participant? If I'm doing D equal to 11 divided by 2, what is the result? Yes, Vinayak sir, 5. Yes. Yes, any other? Kanchan ma'am, Deepika ma'am, 5. Yes. Okay, the actually it give the actual result as 5.5. Yes, Tejaswini ma'am, I know that. Correct. Prerna ma'am, thank you. So 11 divided by 2 is 5.5. It is not 5. If you are from a C language or C++, then your answer is correct. That's 5. Okay, but in Python actually it do the actual division. It do the actual division. 11 divided by 2, the result is float, and that is 5.5. Okay, but these are the new, again, some new operators. 5 modulo 2. Okay, 5 modulo 2. 5 modulo 2 modulo operator, also known as a reminder operator. It do the division and it returns the reminder. So 5 modulo 2 is 1. Okay, 5 modulo 2 is 1, and 9 this division. Now this called the flow division. This symbol is called the flow division. Okay, so it do the division, but it return the quotient. Okay, so or you can think this division as your C language division. Okay, so what are the 9 divided by 2? That is your C language. In a C language, the result is 4. So here also the result is 4. So you can consider this the actual quotient you are only getting. The reminder you are getting with the modulo, and actual quotient you are getting with the double slash, that is flow division. Okay, so 5 modulo 2 is 1, 9 flow division 2 is 4 only. And now the third, and it is a very new operator in a Python. Actually, it is called the 2 star. It is called as a raise to operator. 2 raised to 3. It is 2 raised to 3. Okay, so whatever the first number raised to second number, that is your result. So 2 raised to 3 is 8. Okay, so we are getting the answer as 1, 4, and 8. Yes, are you getting this? So these are the basics arithmetic operators. These 2 operators are new in Python: flow division and the this raise to operator. Just you have to note down this. No, operator precedence, yeah, actually it is very similar like your BODMAS rule. Okay, first parenthesis came, then after that the next order is the exponential operator is having the more priority. Parenthesis having the highest priority. Then exponential operator, that is a raise to operator. Then multiplication, division operator, and then addition and subtraction. Last is addition and subtraction. Some type conversion also we can do. So type conversion generally called as a converting of one variable into the second type of the variable. That's called the type conversion. Suppose we have the result, our result in the form of the float. Okay, and suppose, but I want only the integer result. Suppose your result is the in terms of the 68.17. Okay, and you want only that 68. So what you can do, you can convert that variable into the integer format, then you will get that 68 only. So like that also. Okay, so or otherwise, suppose if your number is stored in a string format, like in a double quote, actually it is showing 1, 2, 3, but you need the integer value of 1, 2, 3. Then you can also convert that using this type conversion. So these are the possible type conversion. I have noted down, I have given this possible conversion. You can take a snapshot of this type conversion also, like float, numeric string, only numeric string. If you are giving a ABC in a single quote or double quote, if you are giving ABC and you are providing int and in a single quote ABC in a single quote, then you will get a exception there or error. You will get error. Only numeric string it will accept. So here numeric string and base. So if your numeric string in terms of the for example hexadecimal number, in terms of the binary, then you can also convert into the integer value. float also, complex number also we can convert, then bool also we can convert, int, float, bool. These number we can also convert into the str. Okay, this is a very important one. Then chr of int, again this is an important one. Okay, get the character associated with a given ASCII value. Suppose if you have the 97, if you have the integer 97, and if you want the what is the character associated with that 97, then you just have to use the chr of int. Okay, and if you want the ASCII value of the given character, then you have to put the ord, this is also ordinal value of a given character. Okay, so get the ASCII value for a given character. Okay, next one is some built-in function. So abs of x, here some three variables get created, x, y, and z. Abs of x means absolute value of x. So if x is equal to 3, and if you are printing a of absolute value of x, then it is 3 only. If x is equal to -3, and if you're printing absolute value of x, then it is 3 only. Okay, so whatever the absolute value, it is get printed. Okay, then power, it is very similar like x raised to y. POW function is works similar like your C language POW function. It returns the first argument raised to the second argument. Okay, x raised to y. So if x is 3 and y is 5, so 3 raised to 5. So whatever the 3 raised to 5 get printed here, 243. Okay, to get the smallest argument, to get it is a multi-argument actually. Minimum function is a multi-argument function. You can give the number of argument here, for example 23, 56, 34 and 9. Okay, so 4 argument I am giving. I want the minimum value of that number, so directly you are getting min. Okay, there you are getting the minimum value as a 9. Okay, same for the max variable, also the multi-argument function. You can provide the multi-arguments to max function. It returns the maximum of that number. So here x, y, and z maximum is 5, so it returns 5. Okay, now next one is the div mod function. It returns the pair of, the first one is the your quotient, and the second one is the remainder. Whatever the quotient and what is the remainder, it will get returned here. So like if x is equal to 11 and y is equal to 2, so what it returns? Can anybody tell me what is the result of this instruction? Div mod 11, 2. Yes. So it returns the pair. It returns the pair. Actually, pair. It is in a circular bracket, so it is a tuple. Actually, it returns the tuple of. It returns the tuple of quotient and the remainder. Okay, Monica, ma'am, actually, you have given the answer as 5.5. 11 floor division by y. Okay, what is floor division? Okay, so it returns only quotient, whatever the quotient is there. So 11 divided by 2, if you are getting, then the quotient is 5 and the remainder is 1. Remainder is 1. So let me run this program. Yes, the answer is 5,1. So thank you all. Okay, next one is if you want the binary value of any number. Okay, so what is the value of x first? Okay, x value is 3. X value is 3, and if I want the binary equivalent of that number in terms of the string, then you can get using the bin function, bin. So bin of x is 3, so it returns the 0b11. 11 is the binary equivalent of that particular x number. So like if x is equal to 8, like I'm doing bin of 8. What is bin of 8? Bin of 8 is 1000. It is 1000. It's a binary equivalent of 8. Getting this? So if you want octal equivalent of that particular number, then you have to use the OCT function, octal of x. Okay, so the representation, first 2 characters, just remember the first 2 characters. First 2 character is fixed for binary, 0b. It is for octal it is 0o, small o, and for hexadecimal it is 0x, like that. Okay, so for example, if it is 12, hexadecimal 12, hex of 12. What is hex of 12? What is the answer? Just give me this whole answer. Give me this whole answer. 0x and what after 0x? So what after the 0x? X of 12. Yes, Tejaswini madam. 0x 0c. Monica ma'am. Yes, correct. Monali ma'am. Yes, correct. 0x. Okay, 0x. It should be 0x and the hexadecimal equivalent of 12 is, we know that C. 0xc, like that. Okay. Again, there is an inbuilt function, round function. Okay, round function is again very important, very important regarding to the your data science again, because in data actually some data is there which is having very long values here. After the decimal point, there is a very long value, and we have to truncate this value. Okay, we want only the first two important digits. Okay, after the decimal point. So I want only 5.56 or 5.57. Actually, after 6 it is 8, so it should be convert to 6. It should be convert to 7. Okay, so answer should be 4.57. So how to get? So there is a inbuilt function, round function. Round x of 2, you will get the answer as 4.57. Yes, getting this. So next one is the library function. Some math function is there. Actually, again, it is important regarding to the data science. Again, some pi value we want the pi constant. We want the value of pi. So the pi constant is directly you can use by importing the math library. So print math.pi. First import the math library, math module, and in a math module there is a constant called as a pi. Just use that math.pi and you will get that value, okay, this one. Okay, next one is math.e. There is a e constant is there which requires majorly in some mathematical calculation. So if you want that e constant, then there is a 2.71. this is the constant is available. X equal to 5, and there is a function called as a factorial. If you want to get the factorial of any number, there is a ready-made function available in math module, math.factorial, and whatever the values there, its factorial get calculated. Factorial of x is, factorial of 5 is 120. We know that. Okay. And again, it is a absolute value of float x. So first function we have seen as a ABS. Okay, ABS will only works on integers. Okay, but if you want the absolute value of float numbers, then there is a function in math module, math.fabs. Fabs of x, that is minus, now x is minus value, so fabs of x becomes plus value, that is 3.5045. Okay, so in some cases it requires, we need the absolute value of the float numbers, so we can use the math model here. Now log function is also there. Log function, natural log. If you want to calculate the natural log, log means base to a. Base is e. Base is e. So natural log of x, log x to the base e. So if you want, then use math.log x. If you want the base 10, use math log 10. Okay, if you want base 10, use log 10, like that. Okay, again there is a exp function, e raised to something. If you want to calculate e raised to something, e raised to 5, e raised to 3, e raised to 5. Okay, so then you can use this function. Okay, so e raised to 2. Okay, e square I want. Okay, e is a constant, so there is a function called as a math.exp. exp, that is e raised to 2. E raised to 2. Getting this? Now math.trunc. Trunc is the function which truncates that float numbers to the integer number. Okay, truncate, it truncates whatever the value of that particular number after that decimal point, it get truncated. Okay, so if it is 46.99, then what is the result? Can you tell me? 46.99 x value is 46.99, and I'm using math.trunc. Then what is the result? Yes, anyone? if I'm using math dot trunc x, yes, 47. Yes, actually, you have to rename your name 346094. Yeah, rename your name. Prerna 47. Prerna ma'am says 47. But my answer is 46 only. Okay, my answer is 46. It is not round function. Okay, that is the major difference between the trunc function and the round function. What the round function will do? It rounds up. But trunc is not round up. It only truncate the decimal value. Whatever the decimal value after the decimal point, it get truncated. And what is the integer value? It get assigned to that particular function. Getting this? So Palani Mira ma'am, actually ma'am or sir, actually Parinita is correct. 47 is not the answer. 46 is the answer. Yes, correct. If you are using 46.01, then also the answer is 46. Getting the difference between the trunc and round. Now the next one is cell function. Okay, cell function. It returns the smallest integer which is greater than or equal to x. Okay, smallest integer which is greater than or equal to x. Now 3.56. 3.56. Yes, Mahesh, can we replace x by any number? Yes, we can replace. X is just a variable. You can directly put 46.78. Yes, code sir. So that is just a variable. Okay. Now next one is a cell function. It returns the smallest integer which is greater than or equal to x. 3.56. 3.56, and which is the smallest integer after 3.56. Which is the smallest integer after the 3.56? It is 4. So that's why it returns 4. It is a cell value. It is cell value. It is, you consider after 3.56, which is the smallest integer. Actually, integers are again 4 is the integer, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All integers are there. But which is the smallest integer which is greater than or equal to x? So it is 4. So cell value of the 3.56 is 4. And the floor value of x is which is the largest integer which is less than or equal to x. Okay, so what is the less than or equal to x? Which are the integers which is less than or equal to 3.56? 1 is also integer, 2 is also integer, 3 is also integer. Okay, 0 is also integer. So which is the largest integer less than or equal to that x value? So out of the 1, 2, 3, 3 is the largest. So the result is largest. Okay, so math.floor will return the largest integer which is less than or equal to x. Again, the modf function is there. It returns the tuple of fractional and integer part of x as a separate. So 3.56 is there. This is the float value, and I want the separate fractional value and its integer value. So there is a function as a modf function. So modf function will separate out 0.56 fractional value and 3.0 is its integer value. Okay, so this is separated and it returns the tuple because it is a this circular bracket is there. Now trigonometric function, we'll see trigonometric function like degrees function. Now degrees function, it converts the radians to degree. Okay, it converts the radians to degree. So import math. If x is equal to 1, math dot degrees x. So what is the, if radian x is there, if a1 I'm treating 1 as a radian, the radian a1 I want to convert into the degrees. So it is 57. It is 57.29 like that. Okay, and if you have the degree, if you have the degree with you, and if you want the radian value of that degree, then there is a function called as a radians function. Okay, so very simple to again remember degrees and radians. Again, sine, cosine, these are the again function that is actually majorly available in all programming languages. Math.sine x. Now x is considered as a radian here. By default, it is radian. Okay, so math.sine x. So you will get the answer as 0.5084. Okay, so I don't know this answer because radians and I never works. So mat.cos x, cos is the function which returns the cosine of the x radians. Tan, it returns the tangent of the x radian. Hyperbolic sine, sin h, it returns the hyperbolic sine of radian x. Cos h, it returns the hyperbolic cosine of the radian x. Tan h, it returns the hyperbolic tangent of the radian x. Then inverse, sine inverse. Okay, if I want to calculate the sine inverse, then there's a sine is there. A sine x, you can get the sine x, sine inverse of x. But remember that here x should be a radian. So if you have the input in a degrees, first convert that degree into radian and just provide that radian value to this function. Then a cos function, it cos inverse. A tan function, tan inverse. Okay, and there is one function, hypot function. Okay, this hypot function, it returns the equation. It returns the result of the equation like this. It returns the square root of the x square plus y square. It returns the square root of the x square plus y square. Okay, so generally it used to calculate some value actually. So wherever this formula actually appear, you can use this function directly without implementing that formula by yourself. You can use the hypot function. Now the next one is random number generation. Now this very important point, and I insist that you should note down the whatever these steps are there to generate the random numbers. Okay, to generate the random numbers, there is a random function. Though this random module is available in a Python, actually in a data science, most of times we are not using this module. We are using the random module in the NumPy. Okay, in a NumPy library also there is a random module is there. We are generally using that one. But here also, if you don't want to use that, or you are not having the NumPy get installed in your system, then you can use this random inbuilt random module of your Python. Okay, so import random. So random module will be inserted or imported in your environment. Then random.seed, it says the current time as a seed for the random number generation. We know that to generate the random number, we need some one arbitrary value. And here, if you are using random.seed, then the current time is considered as that arbitrary value. Okay, so if you are not using the seed function, actually it might happen that you are getting the same sequence of the random numbers. Okay, so I insist that before using the random function of your random module, always use the seed function. Random.seed x. X is, do not use the current time as a seed. Here use that x value. Now x can be anything. X can be, you can use 5, 10, 15, 768, or any arbitrary value you can set here. Okay, then here I'm importing the random module and I'm using the current time as a seed value. And after this, to generate the random number between 0 and 1, okay, to between 0 and 1 only. Okay, I want the number in between 0 and 1, then you should use the directly function random function. So how to use a random dot and then random function. Do not give any argument here. If you're not giving the argument, then by default it is the number is generated from 0 and 1. So I'm running this, you will get the different value. Again I'm running this, again you will get a different value. Every time if I'm running, every time you will get a different values. Okay, but it is always between the 0 and 1. But you require a random number between some integer value. Okay, so you can give here 1 and 10. 1 is the start and 10 is the end. So it a random number between the given range 1 and 10. Okay, here start end is included here. Start is, I think start is not included. 1 and 10. Okay, so any number 1 and 10, it is used, it returns it. Okay, And next one is comment and indentation. Yes, indentation actually it is comes afterwards. When we start with the decision control structure, that indentation matters, because we you can see here, suppose while running this program, while running this statement, actually if I'm running this, it successfully run, but while typing this line, actually mistakenly, suppose what I'm doing, I'm putting the space in front of this statement. Okay, I'm putting the space in front of this statement. So if I run this, it okay, so it is a single statement, so that's why it is not generating any error. So in case of the multiple statement, it generates the error, I think. Yes, it generates the indentation error. Okay, so in this program, actually indentation is there. This first line is having the start with this indentation, but the second line is not following the indentation. Second line should be start with the same indentation, so that's why your Python compiler give the error. Okay, so always remember that. So most of the times your students are doing this mistake in C language. Actually sometimes they are not putting the space, or they are putting the so much of space, but here the whatever the space in front of that statement, it is a very important, because that space represent the indentation. Okay, so comment, we can begin with the hash. Okay, single line comment hash, and the multi-line comment you can use with the this 3 quote. Just comment with the 3 quote. Actually this 3 quote you can use as a comment, also you can use to declare declare the multi-line string also. Okay, multi-line string also. So multi-line string means which contain the slash n in between it. Okay, so this is the multi-line comment or string, so there is slash n is there. Okay, slash n, that is new line is there. So first line, second line, third line, fourth line, so str1 equal to this. So print, if you are doing the print str1, actually the as it is get printed, as it is get printed. Okay, but if you are not doing this str1, okay, if you are not doing this str1, okay, if you are not printing this again, if you are not printing this, then there is a, this is the raw output, this is the raw output. Okay, but you can use this actually 3 quote to generate the docstring. Okay, docstring generally we will write when we create the function. Okay, what is the use of that function? If I want to declare as a help, then we can use that docstring also. Okay, so in a function, actually I have also mentioned this the indentation, actually we have seen it doesn't works. Multi-lining, yes, this is again a very important one. If the statements are long, they can be written as a multi-line with each line except the last line with a slash. Okay, for example, very big statement is there, very big expression is there, and if you that one expression actually is not fit into the one line, so you can make a multi-line. So what this statement is actually a plus b plus c plus d plus e, only this is the single this is the statement. If I want to write this statement in a multi-line, what I can do, at the last I have to put the slash only. So b plus slash, it means that it is not ending that expression. Your Python is searching the content to the next line. Again slash is there, again content to the next line. Again slash is there, content to the next line. Again slash e, but there is no slash in front of e, so it is the end of that particular expression. A plus c plus d plus e. So if all the variable get assigned, then we'll get answer as this one. Okay, so this a plus b plus c plus a c, a b c d e actually is previously defined. Okay, multi-line statement with a with a list and set and the tuple, actually it doesn't need a slash. For example, if you want to declare the list, so you don't require the slash, you don't require the slash to be put here. Okay, the slash is not required because this is there. Okay, this is there, this box is represent that this is the end of my box, This is the start of my box, this is the end of my box. So in between this a start and end, there is a list is there. Whatever the list element is there. Okay, so this is some basics of Python. So any question if you have, you can post on chat window. I will be answering that. Otherwise, we will move to the next one. That is the Python string. Okay, so meanwhile, these whatever the sheets I'm using here, this is the you can download by using the. It is available in my GitHub. So I'm giving the link here. It is github.com/Arduino Ganesh / I think Python. Just let me check the link and I will be sharing that link to you. Yes, all these IPYNB files are there. You can directly download it. So I'm pasting this link in the chat window. Okay, so you can access it. github.com/Arduino Ganesh / Python. Okay, so all these Python files are there. This Python Jupyter file, it is opening in the Jupyter Notebook or the Google Colabs only. So any doubt? No? Okay. So next one is the Python string. So what is string? String, we know that it is a collection of the characters. Okay, but the Python string is having the different definition. Python string is a collection of Unicode character. It is not a ASCII character. It is a Unicode character. So it means that you can store the any language, like Marathi language also you can store, Urdu also you can store, any language you can store. So Python string can be enclosed in a single quote, double quote, or triple quote. So how to give or how to create the string symbol? Use single quote or double quote or the triple quote. We have seen this triple quote. So if you want to create the multi-line string, use the triple quote. Okay, but single quote and double quote, these are only used for the single line string. Okay, so I'm running this and you will get output as all three as a Python. Python. So it is online platform we are using. So whatever the running is there, when you run your program, actually it depends on their system and your internet connection again. If there are the characters like single quote, double quote, or slash within a string, they can be written in a two ways, like escape them by preceding them with a slash, or prepend the string with a raw. Okay, prepend it with a raw. So we'll see one by one. That is, my name is Ganesh. Now this Ganesh I have to print in a single quote. Okay, Ganesh I have to print in a single quote. So if I want the single quote, if I'm not giving this escape sequence, then it will give some error. Or this is treated as a single line, one line or one string only. This Ganesh is nothing, and then again the empty string is there. Okay, so here to correct it, I should give here the escape sequence / escape sequence. It is very similar like your C language. In C language, so we are doing the same thing. Okay, so when I run the program, you will get that this string Ganesh is enclosed in a single quote. You can also do this double quote. You can also use the double quote. Okay, so I'm putting the double quote here. Or instead of that, if your string is enclosed, if your whole string is enclosed in a single quote, then you can directly use the double quote here. No need to give the slash character. Okay, escape character you don't want. It is not needed here. Directly put my name is Ganesh and double quote. Only make sure that whole string is enclosed with a different character. That is, if whole string is enclosed with a single character, you can put double quote in between. And if the whole string is enclosed with a double quote, you can enclose this Ganesh with a single quote without escape character, Okay, so this is a very important points again to be remembered. Or otherwise, the second one is whatever the actually value or whatever the string you want to store, just write as it is and just put R in front of it. Actually, it is a Python 2 syntax. Python 2. In a Python 2, actually, to declare the string, we generally put R there. Okay, R is called the raw string. When you do this, it will give the same output here. My name is Ganesh. Getting this? So can anybody tell me? Suppose I want to print here slash and print slash. Directly I can print. But if you are doing slash here, the slash is called an escape character. While actually processing this string, actually the escape character get removed. Okay. Now accessing the string element is the next point. Is again very similar, like your C or C++, like how to access the individual characters in a string. Okay, string element can be accessed using its index value, and we know that what is the starting index? What is the starting index of your string or array? Can anybody tell me what is the starting index of the string? Yes, can anyone tell me what is the start index? 0. Yes, Karan Ugle. Yeah, correct. Prema Desai, correct. The starting index is always start with the 0. So here my string is hello Ganesh. Okay, my string is hello Ganesh. If I want to access the capital H, we know that the start is starting letter, so the starting index is 0. So message of 0 I'm putting here, then it will only get that particular value H. Okay. Earlier we have seen that function that is being used to print the ASCII value of the character. So can you recall that function? Yes, actually previous slides actually we have seen that function. The function, what is the name of the function? Yes, Suruchita, correct. ORD, ordinal value. Okay, ORD. Ordinal value of it is 72 is the ordinal value of capital H. Okay, so like that you can use that ORD function also. Okay. So message of 0 if I'm doing capital H. Okay, so what is the result when I'm doing the message of -1? What is the -1? There is a negative index. In C language actually there is no negative indexing, but in a Python actually there is a negative index is present. What is negative indexing? Negative indexing, positive means forward direction. Negative means reverse direction. Okay, forward direction, reverse direction. In a positive indexing, it start with the 0. Index start with the 0. But in negative indexing start with the -1. This is the very important one. In a negative indexing, the last character is considered to be at index -1. So capital H in a reverse indexing or the negative indexing, the capital H is having the index value as a -1. So if I'm doing message of -1, then I'm getting the H here. Okay. The message of 6 means 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, 5 and 6. So that is capital Z, capital G get printed. Message of -4 means H is the -1, S is -2, E is -3, and N is the -4. Okay, so if I'm accessing message of -4, I'm getting the N. I'm getting N value. Getting this? So just you have to remember this indexing, positive indexing and the negative indexing. Positive indexing start with the 0 to the length -1. Okay. And the negative indexing start with the -1 to at the whatever the character present here at the reverse index. Okay. The next one is a substring can be sliced out of the string. Yeah, actually in a C language only it is very difficult to slice the substring. Okay. but here it is very easy actually. If I want the only first suppose 1 2 3 4 5 characters, I want only first 5 character. What are the indexes of first 5 characters? 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, these are the indexes 0 1 2 3 and 4. So now I want to slice. I have slice means I have to take this hello out of that hello Ganesh. Actually hello Ganesh, this message is not get affected. Message still contains hello and Ganesh, but I want to take the hello from that Ganesh. Okay, I have to read that first 4 characters only. So how to extract the first 4 character? The first 4 character can be extracted with the slicing. How to do the slicing? Slicing can be do with the colon. With the colon you can do. So how the colon works? The colon works with the first is start value. Do the start value from which character you want to extract. So I want to extract with the first character, that is index number 0. Okay, second one. What is the last character index? Actually last character index is 4 because at the 4, at the O I want to extract HELLO 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, so 0 to 4 I want. If I'm doing if I'm taking in here 0 to 4, actually the character get extracted from only 0 to 3, because here while extracting or while slicing, actually this last is not included. This 5 is not included, it is excluded. So it is 0 to not 5, it is 5 minus 1. So it is 0 to 4 only. So it extracts the only 5 character, first 5 characters, and that is 0 1 2 3 and 4. Okay, so if I'm running this, you will get the answer as HELLO. Okay, so if I want HEL or not, if I want LLO, if I want the answer as LLO, if I want the answer as LLO, can you tell me what is this instruction? Message of what is the instruction? Message of what? I want the answer as LLO. Yes, participant, please reply. I want the answer of LLO only. Yes, yes, correct. So L means the H index is 0, E index is 1, L index is 2. So start with the 2. End up to the 5, but 5 is not included, so up to 4 only. So 2, 3 and 4. 2, 3 and 4. So if I run this program, you will get answer as LLO. So if you have the any string with you, you can extract the any substring from that string by using the slicing. Okay, so slicing can also be work like this: 6 colon, and after the colon I'm not giving ending. So what is the end? End is end, that is the it is up to the last character. It will end the, it will extract all the character from the starting character. So start with the 6, end up to end. What is the end? After H there is no characters are there, so last character is H, so up to H it will get extracted, starting with the character 6. G is present at index 6, so the answer is Ganesha. Okay, so start, if I'm not giving the last character, if I'm not giving the last here value while slicing, it will treat it as the end. But if I'm not giving as the first one, if I'm not giving as a first, then what is the first is considered? It's considered as a starting index, and starting index we always know that. What is the starting index? 0. So if you are not mentioning in front of that colon, then it is always considered as 0. 0 to 4, 0 to 5, 0 to 4. Actually 5 is there, means 0 to 4, 0 to 4. Getting this? Now the next one is there. Suppose I'm not giving the starting as well as I'm not giving the end. Okay, starting not end. So what is the answer? Can you tell me out of you what is the answer if I'm not giving starting as well as I'm not giving the end? So what is the answer? The answer should be, so if the start is not given, consider as start, end is not given, consider as the end. So it is a full string. So if I'm giving this, you are getting the full string. So in between these 2 brackets, if I'm giving only single quote colon only, not start or end, it is considered as a whole string. Now extract from -6 to end. Yes, there are some assignments or some examples are given. -6 to end. Minus start with the -6 character. It is a reverse indexing. -6 to end. So it is Ganesh. Okay. Start to -7. Start to whatever the -7 is there. Okay. So it extract from start to -8. Whatever the starting, start with the -8. And what is the start here? Start is considered as your first character. Okay, using too large index reports an error. Suppose, but using too large index while slicing, it handled intelligently. For example, if I'm giving here message of the 4, it only print O, because message of 4 means fourth character. 0, 1, 2, 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, that is fifth character. O get written. But instead of 4, I'm giving 400. Mistakenly, I'm giving the 400. Then it generate error. Okay, it generate the error because index error. String index out of bound. Okay, so you have to put the valid index only. But while slicing, 6:200, it will not generate error. It will not generate error. So it up to 6 to valid index, 6 to valid end index. Getting this 6 to valid end index, and this message of 100, it produces an error. Now, sir, some string properties. Type function we already know. Message equal to Python type of message. So type is str. Okay. Python strings are immutable, that is they cannot be changed. So s1 equal to hello, s1 equal to good morning. So can we do this? We can do this because here actually the hello is not modified. The new memory get created having the result as a good morning or having the content as a good morning, and now s1 is pointing to good morning. Actually the old content is not get modified. Okay, it is immutable, but if you are trying to change, it will give error. Like, okay, you can give here like this. Suppose s1 of no, what is s1? S1 is hello. Instead of h, I want to store the suppose v value. Okay, hello. Okay, so can we do this? Okay, so it is not, because it is a immutable. Immutable means we cannot change. S1 of 0 is equal to v. This is not valid. It doesn't support the assignment operator. We can read it, the character, but we cannot modify it. It is a read only string. Okay, it is a read only string. Whenever you are modifying that string, actually the new memory get assigned to that string. So you have to remember this, but we can do this also. String can be concatenated. Yes, string can be concatenated easily. S1 plus S2. In a C language, actually we are using strcat function. No need here. Directly we can concatenate S1 plus S2. S3 is equal to good morning. Okay. String can be repeated using the star. Like suppose this star I want to print as a 20 times. So star multiply by 20. So it will generate the 20 star. Okay, so it will generate the 20 stars. Okay, so if there is a string is there, and if you want to repeat that string multiple times, just use s1 multiply 5. So actually s1 multiply 5, hello will be repeated 5 times. Hello will repeated 5 times. You can see here the result. Hello will be repeated 5 times. Now whether one string is a part of another can be found out using the in operator. Okay, so if this particular string, it is not a single character, actually it is a string. Okay, in a Python there is no character present. Okay, all a string. So e is there. I want to check here e is present in this string or not. Okay, so just use e in hello. So it will return true. Okay, because e is present in hello. And suppose z in hello, z is not present in hello, so it returns false. We can use the el also. El, that is for example ell is present in this string or not. If I want to use it returns the true, because ell, this substring is present in that particular string. Now there are some string operations like now this string operation actually very similar like the string functions available in Python, Java, like is alpha, name dot is alpha. Is alpha checks all the characters in a string are alphabets or not. Okay, so all character, it checks for all characters. All characters alphabet or not. It is false. Why false? Because 3 is there. Okay, 3 is there. So 3 is not an alphabet. It is a 3 is a numeric value. Okay, so it is a digit. So all character is not an alphabet. One of the character is digit, so it returns false. So if I remove this 3, it will return true. If I okay, so there is a space is also there. Okay, space. If I remove the space, just check it. Remove the space. Yes, now it is true. Okay, if one of the space is present, it is not a character alphabet, so it returns false. Getting this? Now name dot is digit. Now check if all the characters in a string are digit or not. Now this Python is this, and if I run this name dot is digit, it will returns the false. Why it returns false? If this string contains all as a digits, then only it returns true. Like here, Sam equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now Sam is having the all characters as a digit, so it returns true. So first result is false, second result is true. Getting this? Now next one is alpha numerical. Okay, so if my string contains the number as well as the alphabet also, then it returns the true. So checks if all characters in a string are alphabets or digits. Okay, it check for alphabet or digits. Okay, and again is alpha. Suppose Sam is equal to sample is alpha numerical or okay alphabet or numerical value or the digit value. So sample contains alphabet. Okay, it not containing the numeric value, so it also returns the true value. It because it check for alphabet or numerical. Okay, or is there. Okay, so it returns true. Here also it returns true because it contains alphabet and digit also. Okay, alphabet or 1 1 here 1 0 1 0 or is 1 1 1 or is 1. Okay, but here it returns false because sample contains alphabet digit, but the special symbol also it contains. What is the special symbol? Special symbols is there, space is there, so it returns the false. It returns false. Getting this? Again some function. I require only 5 minutes more. Coordinator, can I extend to 5 minutes more? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. So name is equal to Python 3 is open source. Name is I want to check that all characters is lowercase or not. Okay, if all characters is lowercase, it returns true. If one of the character is capital case, then it returns false. So here all characters are small case letters, so it returns true. Here one of the character is capital case letter, so that's why it returns false. So this is only checks. Suppose if there is one examples there, and before processing our data, I want to check my data in what is the condition of my data, then you can use this statements. So is upper function actually it checks if all the characters in the string are the uppercase alphabet or not. All characters, all character. I'm not asking about one of the character. Sample, all characters are lowercase, so it returns or it prints the or it returns the false. One of the character is capital, so it returns false. All character, I want all characters. So is upper all character is here, the sample all characters are capital case letter, so it returns the true value. It returns the true value. So false. 1 minute where I am. Okay, so here. So I'm running this program and the result is the okay, result is false, 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 and true. Okay, now next one is start with function, checks if string starts with a value. Okay, a particular value. If I want to check that this particular string start with the Python or not, so function called as a starts with function. Okay, So it start with the Python, so it returns true. Now it is not start with the good, so it returns false. Simple. Again, ends with, if the I want to check the given string is a end with this particular string or not. Again, I want to convert that particular string into the uppercase letter. Okay, uppercase letter. Then you can use the upper function, but it doesn't change the content of that name. It returns the new string. It returns new string only. So name dot upper, actually it print that particular string in a uppercase, but the name is as it is. Name, it is not changing. So it is not a in place. It is not a in place. So it returns. If I want the uppercase letter, then you can use your name1 is equal to name dot upper. Okay. So now name1 is this. Name1 is this, and name is as it is the previous. Getting this? Same for the lower. I want to convert all the characters as a lowercase letter. Then lower capitalized case letter also we can do. Capitalize. So first letter is a capital case letter. First letter is capital case only. The remaining is the small case. Remaining is the small case. Swap case is again the one of the important one. Swap case means all the capital get converted into small, small get converted into capital one. Okay, like this. Okay, so now here again, this is very important one. It is important regarding related to your data pre-processing or cleaning. Suppose in your data, actually one of the string field is there, and that field contains the string data, and it contains some extra spaces in front of them or after at the last. Okay, so how to remove that spaces? That is the major problem with while processing our data. So how to remove? So there is a function called as a strip function. Okay, there are several forms of the strip function. Lstrip, actually lstrip will trim the string from the left. Okay, whatever the left is there, so left. Okay, so lstrip will remove all the white spaces from the start or from the left. Okay, so you can check with the execution. You can see here name dot lstrip will remove all the leading spaces. Okay, leading spaces will be removed, but you will have that trailing spaces as it is there. Trailing spaces is there, but actually original string is remain unchanged. Remaining original string is as it is. Okay, rstrip is also same. Rstrip will remove the trailing spaces. Okay, leading spaces is there, but there is no trailing spaces. Okay, trailing spaces is not there, but original string is as it is. Here original spaces contain the leading space as well as the trailing spaces. Getting this? But there is a strip function is there. Strip function will trim the string from the both side, that is from the leading space also trim, and the trailing spaces also trim there. Okay, so here there is no leading space as well as there is no trailing spaces. Okay, so again there is a one partition function is there, which partition the string into the 3 parts. Okay, it partition the string into 3 parts at the first occurrence of the specified string. We will see with the example. Like Python 3 is an open source. Python 3 is open source, and I want to partition the string with the 3 part. That is, one part middle part contains is. One part middle part should contain is. Middle part I am mentioning only. Whatever the remaining part is the first part. What is the last part is the second part. Last part. Okay. So here the Python 3 space is the first part. Is the second part. Is the second part, and space and open source is the third part. Getting this? So if I want to partition into 3 parts, then I can do this. Okay. Otherwise, suppose I'm doing there like this. Okay. Space is space. I'm putting into as a middle one. So Python 3 is the first, open source is the last, and space is the middle one. But here the original string remains unchanged. Now split function is there. Actually, split function is very easy. It will divide your string into the separate string, or you can say that it split the string at a specified separator string. Okay, if the separator is not given, actually the space is considered as a separator. Okay, so your Python 3 is open, and so these are the 4 string present, and here the separator is used as a space. So if I'm running this, I'm getting the list containing the 4 string. First string is Python 3, second is, third is open, and the third is the source. Fourth is the fourth. Okay. Here also one of the example split function with the separator is given, that is comma. So here suppose if my data is there, all my data is given in a CSV format, comma separated value, Ganesh, comma 36, comma, and this is my email address. So I want to separate out all these 3 things. So I'm giving the split as a comma, enter. So very first is, that is list 1 of the 0 contains Ganesh Attarde, list 1 of 1 contains 36, and list 1 of 2 contains my email address, like that. So it is very important regarding to the data cleaning again. So strf function return the numeric string for its numeric constant. So age equal to 36. So if 36 I want to print as a string, I have to convert, I have to use the typecasting. So str of age. So str of age is 36 is in a string format. So I am 36 years old. Okay, and this we have already seen. Ordinal value of capital A is 65, and CHR value of the 97, the character value of 97 is small a. 65 and small a. Getting this? So I think actually I have taken your 10 minutes more, but we'll stop here and we'll meet you again at the 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock or 3:05. Okay, 3:05 p.m. Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
We'll meet again on at 3:05 p.m. Okay.
Okay. So all the question answer session will be taken at the last session.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. I'm leaving the meeting.
Yes.